It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask kindergarten teacher Miss Gibson.
Give me just one Clorox wipe and I'm ready for glitter glue, exploded lunchbox yogurt, peanut butter handprints, runny noses, picking noses, rubbing noses.
Touching noses.
Thank you, Edward. Ooh, nap mats and lockers and tissue boxes. And
Clorox
scissors.
disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe. Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
For the McLaren Formula One team, speed is everything. When every second counts, there's no time to dig through data. Dropbox Dash finds what you need fast across all your work apps, so you can focus on what matters. Less busy work, more breakthroughs. High-performing teams rely on high-performing tools like Dropbox Dash. Learn more at dropbox.com/McLarenF1.
This podcast contains adult themes and language, and some of the things that we discuss may be disturbing to some listeners. In this podcast, we discuss sexual assault, torture, race, and murder. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care of yourself.
To talk about Timothy Joseph McGhee's early life. What do you got for us, Beth?
Well, Timothy Joseph McGhee was born on April 27th, 1973, and raised in Atwater Village, a lower middle-class neighborhood in northeast Los Angeles, just off Interstate 5, north of downtown and near Glendale.
His father, a white man of Scottish descent, left the family when Timothy was still young to work in Alaska. His mother is Mexican-American, and we could not find out if he had any siblings.
As a boy, Timothy has been described as a scrawny skateboarder who is often bullied by local gang members. In response, he toughened up and learned to fight. He also liked writing rap lyrics, and it's been said that he had a talent for it.
Before long, he began associating with the same gang members who had once harassed him, and eventually he joined the Toonerville Rifa 13 gang, a mostly Chicano street gang rooted in Atwater Village.
The gang, which is often abbreviated as TVR, traces its name to the Toonerville Trolley, a reference to a comic strip and film series from the early 1900s featuring a trolley that goes through the center of a town. Because a trolley once ran through Atwater Village in the 1920s, locals nicknamed the area Toonerville, and the name stuck.
Though the Toonerville gang has existed since the 1950s, and by 2000 had over 400 members, it was seen as a relatively small, low-profile gang. Small fish, big pond.
Right.
Compared to other Sureño gangs in Los Angeles County.
Sureños are a broad coalition of Mexican-American gangs affiliated with the Mexican Mafia prison gang, and are active both on the streets and in prisons. Mexican-American street gangs originated in Los Angeles in the early 1900s as a result of various factors, including economic conditions and racial prejudice.
The Mexican Mafia, or La M, and M is Espanol for the letter M.
Yep.
Yay, we did it! Duolingo, yes! Widely considered California's first prison gang, was established at the Duel Vocational Institution in 1957. It was formed in part for protection from other groups in the prison population and recruited its members from Mexican-American street gangs. While some Sureño gangs have spread across the country with large-scale influence, Toonerville remains largely localized to LA, Glendale, and nearby communities.
As a man of mixed Scottish and Mexican heritage, McGhee didn't fit the typical profile of a Sureño gang member. He was known as güero, meaning light-skinned or whitey.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that what you call your husband, too?
That's what other people, like when we lived in Phoenix, that's what our Mexican friends would call
him.
Old Whitey. Mm-hmm.
Can you say it?
Güero.
Güero. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he appeared determined to prove himself, rising quickly through the ranks, aspiring to become a shot caller, which means a leader.
His torso and arms were covered in tattoos, including Atwater Village on his chest and Tunerville, Rifa on his back. By the way, law enforcement, in my opinion, can be quite lazy. And so they identify people who they believe to be in gangs by their tattoos.
Yeah.
And they frequently get it wrong or, just lacking any cultural context. I understand that there are serious gangs that have serious tattoo identifications, but tattoos aren't all bad. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Just because you have a tattoo doesn't mean you're in a gang.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
True that. Like, there was that guy that was arrested and sent to
ICE detention?
Yeah.
Or deported?
Deported. The one who was deported and sent to
El Salvador?
Yeah.
That
guy.
I'm forgetting his name. I apologize.
Just because he had tattoos, they said he was in a gang, which he wasn't.
Yeah. And it's kind of it feels very racist to identify people by their, it's one of those things. I can't tell you exactly why it's racist. It just feels like it. So therefore, to me, it is.
Well, I don't know if they would have done the same thing to a white person.
Right.
That's why it's racist.
Thank you. That's my friend. Excuse me. Round of applause. Let's just give her an air horn. So this particular case, and people of color don't often get to be individuals. In his case, his tattoos were emblematic of
his gang.
I think of him being affiliated with the gang.
Right.
But all I'm saying is not everybody
not every brown tattoos,
person with tattoos is in a gang.
Yeah.
So he had tattoos, including Atwater Village on his chest and Tunerville, Rifa on his back. And one of the most striking tattoos that he has is on the back of his shaved head, an eagle, devouring a snake.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds really badass, especially when you say it like that.
And it is. And it's a powerful symbol from Aztec mythology tied to the founding of Tenochtitlan, or present-day Mexico City. And it's also featured on the Mexican flag.
Mm-hmm.
So this tattoo reflects a clear connection to Mexico and pride in his Latino heritage.
Yeah, I was listening to a conversation about flags the other day, and they were talking about just how badass the Mexican flag is.
It's
and
pretty
I couldn't
badass.
agree more. Yeah.
I mean, the Aztecs were pretty badass.
Oh my God. I just ate up Aztec mythology when I got my hands on it as a young person. And I recommend anybody check it out. But now it's time for the timeline. So I will tell you how it all began. At the age of 16, McGhee took part in a drive-by shooting. As the vehicle passed a crowd of people, he fired a shotgun out the window, striking a man in the face with a spray of pellets. Thankfully, the man survived, but McGhee was sent to a youth detention center, a.k.a. a juvie.
The facility was located near where his girlfriend lived, who happened to be pregnant with his child. When he was about to be transferred to a different facility in a different area, he attacked a guard, punching him and kicking him, with the belief that this action would stop his transfer. Somebody must have said, hey, if you start a row, they won't transfer you, or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. It seems like an immature thought.
He's 16.
Yeah, that this one teenage kid could overwhelm an entire system that, he's in its clutches. Like, you can't do anything. But he was wrong. What? And when told he would still be transferred, McGhee replied, quote, well, next time, I guess I'll just have to stab him, unquote.
Which I don't know how that would solve anything. But go ahead, McGhee.
Thank you. OG, a true crime. She does it again. But when McGhee was released, he became a father. He eventually had 3 biological children and also helped raise 5 of his girlfriend's children. And he was described as a good father.
However, he wasn't so good at staying out of trouble. At the age of 18, he assaulted a police officer, and in 1994, he was sent to a real prison. This wasn't juvie. He received a 4-year prison sentence and served 3 years of his sentence before being released in 1997.
Later that year, McGhee was sent back to prison on a parole violation. But authorities believe that in what little time McGhee spent outside, his crimes were not limited to simple parole violations.
Investigators believe that during McGhee's few months as a free man in 1997, he murdered a member of the rival Frogtown Reefa 13 gang, Ronnie Martin. A former Toonerville member later testified that McGhee described the killing to him, saying he and an accomplice confronted Ronnie in rival territory and demanded that he lift his shirt, which revealed a Frogtown tattoo, so they shot him.
Ooh. In another incident that year, Rascals gang members Juan Gardiel and Pedro Sanchez were standing outside a gas station when two cars pulled up. Someone in one of the cars showed a rifle, and moments later, gunfire erupted. As the two men fled, a gunman chased after them.
Gardiel was shot in the back and leg, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. Sanchez was also shot in the back, but managed to escape into a mini-mart, where the shooter fired through the glass door before fleeing. Both men identified McGhee as the shooter, though their subsequent identifications of McGhee were more ambiguous. So this happened a lot with this case, is witnesses would identify McGhee, and then they would say later, oh, actually, I don't know if it was him, because they were scared.
Right. But where are the witness tampering charges? Maybe at this point they didn't realize how dangerous he was.
There was witness tampering. I think they were just scared of him.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
If you don't do anything, like you're not saying, if you testify, I'll kill you. Mm-hmm. But you're just this really fucking scary person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then it's not really witness tampering.
No? I guess.
I mean, you're not directly saying,
I will
kill you. You're just a really fucking scary person, and they don't want to fuck with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I take it all back
legally, I guess. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's a really good point. I mean, there's a lot of parallels. I mean, there's so many parallels to present day in this case, even though, you know, it's different. It's snippets here and there. I'm thinking of the Diddy trial with regard to the witness intimidation that came up in the Diddy trial. And so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know. But that's just my guess, is you can't really charge somebody with witness tampering. If they're not really tampering, they're just kind of an asshole.
So back to the story. As we mentioned, McGhee was sent back to prison in late 1997. He was released again in March 1999, and he moved in with his grandmother in the San Gabriel Valley. And this time, while on parole, he enrolled in police science classes at Cal Poly Pomona.
I know, that was a twist.
What a twist. Never let him know your next move, McGhee. Wow. And courses that detectives believe he used to study law enforcement tactics.
Pretty smart. On October 17th, 1999, while McGhee was again out on parole, gunfire erupted outside Echo Sound's music studio in Atwater Village, where a group had just wrapped up a late-night recording session. Around 11:40 p.m., the crew and artists were gathered on the studio's patio when at least two gunmen confronted them and began shooting without warning or provocation.
Damn. Dwayne Draws Dupree, a 23-year-old bodyguard, was fatally shot and pronounced dead at the scene. He had been protecting rapper Ricardo Corrupt Brown, who was working on his album, The Streets Is a Mother, for Antra Records at the time. Corrupt was a member of the Dog Pound Gang and would later go on to become the executive vice president of Death Row Records.
Wow. Yeah. Record producer Delmar Daz Arnaud, a cousin of Snoop Dogg, was also there, but made it out unscathed. Two other men were wounded, recording artists Jevon Joves and Willard Givers.
So it's interesting that this was October 1999, and I guess sort of this case, this timeline is a little bit longer than other ones that we've done.
Yeah, there's a lot of crimes.
There's a lot of crimes over a long period of time. By February 2000, McGhee was back in prison for yet another parole violation, serving 2 more months before being released again. By that summer, at just 26 years old, McGhee had already spent a quarter of his life behind bars, which also speaks to his mentality throughout all these crimes. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's Wednesday, Adams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
Each time McGhee was released from prison, police say crime spiked in Atwater Village. He gained a reputation not only as a gang leader, but as a so-called thrill killer, someone who seemed to enjoy violence. Gang activity reportedly surged even further when he rose to the level of shot caller, leading around 200 members. And I was reading that in these gangs, they don't really have like a hierarchy, not like the mafia or something like that. It's a little more loose than that, but
Yeah, I'm no gang expert. There's plenty out there. But that was my understanding, that they're kind of a microcosm of society. So there is, some
there's people,
structure.
Yeah, there is some structure, and some people are looked to give direction, but they're not like, this is the leader of the gang,
The leader of the pack.
That was my understanding. I could be completely wrong, though.
I'm happy to be wrong, because you know what that means? We get to learn something new.
Yeah, woo.
But
The
that's
more you know.
just our understanding. Yes. And let us know
If we're
because
completely
we
wrong.
want to learn. Yeah. So authorities allege McGhee ran his gang like a paramilitary force, posting armed lookouts with cell phones or walkie-talkies to patrol the streets. He demanded total loyalty, led members in calisthenics and weapons training, and drilled them in tactical maneuvers. His leadership, officials say, brought a wave of terror to northeast Los Angeles, with violence directed at rivals and civilians alike.
On June 3rd, 2000, 16-year-old Ryan Gonzalez, a member of the Rivals Rascals gang, was shot and killed while walking home from a party. Investigators believe the motive was personal. Gonzalez shared McGhee's street name, Huero, and McGhee didn't think that there was room in the neighborhood for two people with the same nickname. That's what the police think, so take that how you will. I don't know if it's true.
Okay, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
that seems.
There's a lot of that in this story. Like, this is what the police think, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. We've learned throughout covering this that the police lie.
Yeah, or they just make assumptions and they don't really know, and
But what they say is given so much credibility that I do not believe is deserved. So when I'm talking about, what I have heard the police convey to the public or whatever they say in these articles, is I try to just remember that's what the police claim.
Exactly.
The police
that's what
claim.
the police said.
The police
I don't
claim.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On July 4th, 2000, police responded to a robbery in progress involving suspects in a Honda. Officers pursued the vehicle to Atwater Village, where, according to reports, McGhee had been monitoring the situation through a police scanner and was lying in wait.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty smart.
Yeah, and old Whitey went to high school in that area, and I was like, hey, you remember anything about this area? He said from what he remembers is it's kind of like in a valley because it's next to Griffith Park. So it kind of like dips.
Okay.
And he was like, you could get away with a lot of shit there.
Whoa, so he knew it.
Because of how, like the topography, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Don't fact check me on that.
Okay.
Yes. So he was lying in wait.
All right.
And then
gang members placed a washer and a bicycle in the street. to divert the patrol car. So they were waiting for him. They threw this shit in the street to divert the car, then opened fire on it.
That's some military tactical shit.
That's, like I said, he did some pretty smart stuff.
Yeah.
Both officers, Thomas Baker and Carlos Langarica, narrowly escaped being hit. Officer Baker's pants were torn by a bullet that came dangerously close. So his pants were torn, but he was fine.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Also, since nobody was killed, part of me wonders if this was a really intense intimidation tactic.
It could have been, yeah.
To let the officers know you can't really fuck
don't
with
come
us
in our
around
part
here.
of town. Yeah.
And if you do want to come around here, we got to make some arrangements, like The Wire.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it sounds good.
Yeah. So on September 14th, 2000, 18-year-old Marty Gregory Roybal Jr., a student at John Marshall High School, was shot and killed in Silver Lake, a neighborhood located across the Los Angeles River from Atwater Village.
While some reports claim he was painting a picture at the time, others suggest he was spray painting or tagging. In any case, shortly after Roybal's death, 33-year-old David Lamont Martin was also murdered by gunshot, and authorities believe that Martin was killed because he may have witnessed Roybal's shooting. So, like, a lot of the stories are like, this guy was just painting a picture by the river, just minding his own business, when it sounds like he was tagging. So, I mean, that's no excuse to shoot and kill the man, but, or boy, he was a boy.
Yeah, he was a teenager.
Yeah, but still, it's not the same as they randomly shot an artist,
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me. It seems like it was just a young kid, tagging, which is, I believe, is an art form, graffiti.
Yeah, it is, but it's more related to gangs than painting landscape is. I don't know what he might have been tagging, Maybe he was tagging something about Frogtown or something. I don't know. I just think they made it sound like he's just going around shooting artists painting landscapes, And that's not what he was doing.
That's what the art. That's how the articles characterized it.
Right.
Okay, exactly. I misunderstood what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
I see. Okay. To make him seem more nefarious
evil.
Than maybe he was.
Right.
Oh.
Which, as I said,
What do we say at the top of every show? What did we teach you? There it is again.
So, like I said, that's no excuse for shooting this boy. But it makes a little more sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Beth. Oh my God. I love it when you teach me stuff. So McGhee went back to prison again for a narcotics-related parole violation. And after serving time at the California Institution for Men in Chino, he was released in May of 2001. Within weeks, he was suspected in a violent spree that left 9 people shot over 5 months. 6 were killed and 3 were wounded.
It began on June 11th, 2001 in the upscale Los Feliz neighborhood bordering Atwater Village near the Griffith Observatory. That night, 21-year-old Manuel Apodaca Jr., a Pomona resident and alleged member of the Rascals gang, was driving through the area with his pregnant girlfriend, Nina Guerrero.
As the car traveled along, I hate to see these words. It's Los Feliz Boulevard, but everybody in LA says Los Feliz.
Okay.
As their car traveled along Los Feliz Boulevard near Interstate 5, McGhee allegedly opened fire. Apodaca was killed and Nina Guerrero sustained severe brain damage, but doctors were able to successfully deliver their child.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
In July of 2001, 21-year-old Carlos Velasco was working at a furniture warehouse on North San Fernando Road in Atwater Village when he allegedly caught McGhee's attention. According to police, McGhee drove by, saw Velasco, whom he didn't recognize, and ordered gang members to kill him simply for being an unfamiliar face in the neighborhood. The order was carried out and Velasco was fatally shot.
On August 8th, 2001, Atwater Village resident Cherry Wizatsky, 46, her mother Marianne Wizatsky, 64, and their neighbor and friend Brian Robinson, 38, were murdered in a brutal triple homicide. That, I think in 2001, would have been shocking. In 2025, I don't know if it is anymore.
Not quite as shocking, but still not
horrible.
Cool.
Yeah, still horrible. McGhee is believed to be the gunman. The suspected motive? Cherry had reported drug activity at the home of McGhee's sister.
On November 9th, 2001, 25-year-old mother of 3, Marjorie Mendoza, was fatally shot after she and her boyfriend, Dwayne Natividad, a member of the Pinoy Real gang, accidentally drove into an area where McGhee and his associates were allegedly lying in wait for rivals.
Just after midnight, Natividad parked their Mitsubishi Montero alongside a curb when another vehicle pulled in front of them. 2 men emerged and opened fire. Dwayne was hit in the hand as he ducked. A 16-year-old girl in the back seat dove to the floor and was unharmed. However, Marjorie, riding in the passenger seat, was struck multiple times.
Dwayne rushed her to the hospital, but she didn't survive. The ambush reportedly stemmed from McGhee's anger over the killing of a fellow gang member, Paulo Rodarte, earlier that day. A witness described one of the shooters as having a shaved head with a tattoo of an eagle devouring a snake.
That same day, McGhee asked a friend, Cristina Duran, to retrieve a dropped cell phone for him from the scene. Cristina was unsuccessful in finding the phone, but was noticed at the scene, where she told a witness that she had lost something and was looking for it. When she left, she was pulled over by the police for running a red light.
Police took her in for questioning, an interview that police recorded. She eventually implicated McGhee in the shooting. Christina told police that McGhee had done what he did in response to the murder of Paulo earlier that day. When released, they told her to stay away from McGhee.
And by the way, the LAPD has been known to do this. They drop people who they know are affiliated with one gang and dropping them off in a place where another gang is affiliated.
Oh, geez.
On purpose.
Yikes.
Knowing their safety will be compromised.
That's terrible.
Not saying that that's what they did
No,
in this
it's not
case,
what they did in this case, but still, that's terrible.
It is terrible, and I feel like it wasn't great advice. Or that they could have done more for...
Yeah, they didn't do anything to protect her. They just said, hey, stay away from McGhee.
Good
luck. She's like, okay.
Yeah. So within 48 hours, on the night of Cristina's 29th birthday party, she was murdered execution style, shot 5 times behind the ear on the right side of the head. The police recovered that missing cell phone that, remember, she was looking for,
right,
which was linked to McGhee. Cell phone records showed the last call occurred shortly before the shooting. McGhee went into hiding. So now let's get into the investigation and the arrest. Hit it, Beth.
After being officially charged with Marjorie Mendoza's murder, McGhee was placed on the U.S. Marshal's 15 Most Wanted Fugitives list on September 25, 2002. He was also featured on America's Most Wanted. After evading police for over a year, McGhee was arrested in Bullhead City, Arizona in February of 2003.
Oh, look at
which
that.
I feel like he fled to hell. Bullhead City sucks.
Yeah, he fled to hell. Ooh, that's poetic. Look at this artist go over here. So after his arrest, police searched the trailer where he had been staying and discovered a notebook with the phrase, "Everything in this book is a work of fiction," written on the inside, which is like meant for my lawyer's eyes only, kind of thing. So
right.
you can't read it.
Yeah. Or a girl's diary, like, you are forbidden from reading my diary.
No boys allowed. Everything. So it said, everything in this notebook is a work of fiction, he declared. And it had written rap lyrics penned by McGhee.
Many of his lyrics expressed a sense of pride and pleasure in taking lives and, according to authorities, remember that, contained details about the murders which only someone who was there would know.
While awaiting trial, McGhee was housed in the high-security 3300A row of L.A. County Men's Central Jail, where inmates had to be cuffed whenever leaving their cells. Authorities claim McGhee was the shot caller on the row, though he denied it.
Yeah, he said it was ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. How dare you, sir?
On January 7th, 2005, inmate Rudolfo Gonzalez was removed from his cell for being drunk on homemade alcohol, which is called Pruno. As he passed McGhee's cell, McGhee allegedly objected, saying that Gonzalez didn't have his permission to leave because he was allegedly the shot caller on the rope. Gonzalez turned back, prompting deputies to forcibly remove him. Gonzalez later said he was beaten and maced.
McGhee, claiming he was upset at the treatment of his friend, admitted throwing a milk carton and an apple. Deputies said McGhee and others also hurled bleach, urine, and fruit. After Gonzalez was taken away, McGhee and others allegedly smashed sinks and threw porcelain shards. Wow.
Yeah.
That night, deputies were hit again and fires were set. This is like a war zone.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah. The emergency response team entered around midnight. Video showed McGhee and others throwing porcelain, with McGhee using a mattress as a shield. The standoff ended after hours with pepper spray and forced removals. 7 sinks were smashed and a row was heavily damaged.
So now we're going to move on to the trial. McGhee was originally charged with 9 murders, but 6 of those charges were dropped due to concerns about the reliability of key witnesses. So he was only charged with the murders of Ronnie Martin, Ryan Gonzalez, and Marjorie Mendoza.
Several witnesses were placed in protective relocation programs for their safety, while others had to be compelled by court order to testify. Some rival gang members who had previously cooperated with detectives later recanted or distanced themselves from their statements.
Prosecutors presented a wide array of evidence, including ballistic matches, testimony from former gang members, and the notebook, containing McGhee's handwritten rap lyrics. Much of the case relied on accounts from ex-gang associates, some of whom were accomplices in the killings, alongside witness statements, forensic evidence, and Cristina Duran's videotaped interview with LAPD detectives.
At trial, prosecutor Hoon Chun recited lyrics McGhee wrote for a girlfriend. Quote, "Here I come, last chance to run. Killer with a gun, out to have some fun. In my dreams I hear screams. Pleasure I feel is so obscene." Unquote.
After a week of deliberation on October 25th, 2007, a jury of 8 men and 4 women found McGhee guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder, with special circumstances for multiple killings and gang affiliation.
He was also convicted of 4 counts of attempted murder, including the 2 LAPD officers, but was acquitted of the attempted murders of Pedro Sanchez and Juan Cardiel. The jury determined that all the crimes were committed for the benefit of a criminal street gang. When the verdicts were read, McGhee showed no remorse.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
On November 14th, 2007, after the Capitol murder trial ended, but before the penalty phase began, the Los Angeles District Attorney filed a felony complaint charging McGhee with crimes associated with the 2005 prison riot.
In March 2008, McGhee was ordered to stand trial for his role in the prison riot. And on January 9th, 2009, McGhee was sentenced to death for the murders, plus 75 years to life for inciting a riot. 75 years to life for inciting a riot. That's nuts.
Yeah.
At this hearing, when the sentence was read, McGhee laughed.
My. Authorities believe that he is also responsible for additional homicides, though they lacked sufficient evidence to charge him for those crimes.
McGhee was being held at San Quentin State Prison when, on the morning of August 30th, 2012, he suddenly attacked 2 correctional officers during a routine transfer. As the guards prepared to escort the 39-year-old McGhee from the shower back to his cell, he pulled out a homemade weapon and began slashing and stabbing.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. That's a dangerous job.
It is a very dangerous job. No,
very
thank you.
dangerous job. Yeah. I know we've got fruities who are COs.
Yeah.
And
it's for a lot of people, it's just a job. They make good money.
Yeah.
And it's a job. And to put your life on the line, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Holy smokes. So the assault left both of those officers with serious injuries to their heads, necks, and arms. They were quickly rushed to an outside hospital. Officials later confirmed that they were expected to recover. So now let's get into where are they now? Tell us, Beth.
In April of 2025, so just a couple of months ago,
Oh.
The California Supreme Court overturned McGhee's murder convictions and death sentence.
What?
The decision had to do with the improper dismissal of a juror during deliberations.
Interesting. It's alleged that a member of the jury was wrongfully removed after other jurors came forward and accused the individual of being incapable of making a fair decision in the case. The juror in question allegedly expressed a distrust of law enforcement while deliberating with the others and told them, quote, "I'm not changing my mind," unquote. Wow.
Yeah. The California Supreme Court justices ruled unanimously to overturn McGhee's convictions and sentence, and his case was sent back down to the Los Angeles County's district attorney, who has not yet said whether he plans to retry McGhee or seek the death penalty again.
Oh, this will be interesting to watch for. However, McGhee is currently incarcerated at Kern Valley State Prison, and he is expected to remain there indefinitely, as he is serving an additional life sentence handed down to him under California's 3 strikes law.
So he's not getting out.
He is not getting out, which, based on what we've just conveyed in the timeline, I think is a good thing.
Probably good for society.
Yeah. But let's get into it, Beth. Let's get into what we think about the case. Listeners, feel free to chime in the chat if you would like, if you're comfortable, or get at us on the socials and let us know what you think. So, Beth.
So I don't know exactly why he did what he did, but I feel like the fact that he presented as white in a Latino neighborhood where he wanted to fit in made him want to overcompensate and be the baddest bitch in the neighborhood. That's what it seemed like to me. A lot of the articles, podcasts, and shows refer to him as an evil psychopath. And maybe he is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe he got hardened by the streets in prison at a young age.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe he's both, I don't know.
Yes.
But in most of the articles I read, they talked a lot about the lyrics in the Notebook and how he talked about how he loved to kill, blah, blah, blah. But one article I read said he also wrote about his sense of worthlessness and self-loathing of needing to be forgiven for his sins and imagining taking his own life. And as Wendy always says, my friend Wendy over there, she always says, hurt people hurt people. So for whatever reason, he was in a lot of pain and he allowed that to make him angry and turn against other people.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say about the language used in his Notebook. I was watching a poet, I think on Seth Meyers, talking about the language for success described, particularly the language around men's success. You're killing it in the boardroom.
Oh, yeah.
You crushed it. You smashed it. You, beast mode.
Kind of
all these
violent.
Violent, yeah. I just wanted to comment on that because it just made me think of it. And hopefully it made others think of it too. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like it's relevant.
Yeah.
But the idea of the self-loathing and worthlessness, sometimes in communities of color who in many ways have the boot of white supremacy on their necks, there can be currency in resembling the colonizer, either physically or by actions, right? If you act white and looked white, you might be afforded certain privileges. And sometimes the light-skinned one in the neighborhood is the hardest one of the group.
Right.
Like Beth said. And I think there are many reasons for that. I'm not a psychologist, but I just had a couple thoughts on colorism. It was a thing, people saw it so much so they nicknamed him Whitey. And they teased him. And eventually he had to become hardened as a result of having to protect himself.
Right.
Because of this, I think, perceived weakness or perceived privilege. And colorism can also contribute to negative emotions within ourselves and pressures. Being someone within an oppressed community who is also singled out further within that community can contribute to feelings of internalized racism and self-hate. And so for somebody like Timothy McGhee, or even people around him who observed him being treated differently, right, that affected him. I mean, I also think that his conscience probably didn't help with all the evil and horrible things that he did. But I just thought maybe colorism
might have contributed to it.
Yeah. And not saying that's exactly what happened, but I think it could be a possibility. Also, gangs are a microcosm of society as a whole, and it may be hard to believe, but as Beth and I were discussing, we're not experts on gangs by any means, but our understanding in doing this podcast thing and life, etc., understand that they do have codes which vary, from gang to gang, place to place. But the code generally is about loyalty to the gang, absolute loyalty to the gang and respect. And there are rules for members inside of prison and outside of prison. Protect the gang at all costs. And I think that's how one of the ways he justified killing, like the triple homicide.
Right.
So unnecessary. Or the mother and daughter who were killed because the mother called the police because she was concerned about drug activity in a home. So I just thought, they saw these people as threats or as witnesses, potential witnesses who could testify against them and bring the gang down.
Yeah.
You don't want to fuck with the gang's money, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.
don't fuck with the gang.
Yeah. I also wanted to say I do think it should not go without mentioning that it isn't just true for street gangs, but also other organizations that may operate in kind of the same way that we might not consider gangs, but they looks like a duck, acts like a duck, and quacks like a duck. Police, for example.
Right. Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
Protect each other at all costs.
Protect the blue, at all costs. Another thing I wanted to say, just because you play gangster games and you get gangster prizes. And part of me felt really bad because there's a lot of young people who were like swept up in this. And
yeah, a lot of,
I don't know if they had a choice or not, but the ending is clear, right?
Yeah.
If you join a gang, it doesn't end well. Also, something I learned when researching the Sureño gang is they don't allow Black people.
Oh.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Nope.
Wow.
And they have really strict rules, kind of like biker gangs, about your like racial makeup.
And who you associate with and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, don't fact check me on this, but something about Black people can't join, and it's not okay to kill certain gangs. I'm not paraphrasing correctly. The thing I know for sure is that Black people are not allowed in this gang, and I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Also, this constant tit for tat is so frustrating. Also kind of reminds me of our political situation, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating, and
it doesn't get you anywhere.
Be frustrating for the people in the communities who are like, it never ends. When is everybody going to be dead and they were going to be happy?
An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind.
Thank you. Yeah. I need a sound effect. Yeah. And I thought about the history of gangs. They were initially created to protect the neighborhood and, turned into something different. And then about the Atwater community in general, which we talked about how diverse it was, and it's the vibrant immigrant community. And a lot of these immigrant communities have a lot of commonalities. There's Asian immigrants, Latino immigrants, etc. But white supremacy, I must say, seeks to lie, steal, kill, and destroy, and can have different communities in close proximity, like the ones in Atwater, who are not wealthy or white, fighting each other over crumbs. And I think the gang activity plays into that. And it's all to their detriment, but to the benefit of white supremacy and white supremacist systems. Now, the neighborhood's demographics, 2025, it's gentrified, more white. And Atwater Village is also not far from that Griffith Park area I was mentioning. And that's where people like the Kardashians like to go hike and film and, fake workout and stuff.
Right.
But that neighborhood was the victim of redlining, like we discussed, and it was deemed disadvantaged and low income because Black and brown people live there. And these cycles of lack and then prosperity in neighborhoods are often to the detriment of the people who, established it, those immigrants and people of color who started that neighborhood.
Right, they're pushed out.
Yeah. And then all the Karens come in and buy houses and properties on the cheap. And then yes, exactly. And then their yoga studios. And suddenly this community is worth more attention and investment, right? Which seems unfair.
It is unfair.
Yeah. Is he a psychopath? Was it nature? Was it nurture? I don't know. Like Beth said, I think it's probably both. Lastly, rest in power to each and every one of the victims. And we just send love and healing energy to their loved ones and the community. Beth, where can the people find us?
Our website is fruitloopspod.com, and we use Fruit Loops Pod for all of our social media.
This is a weekly podcast, and new episodes drop every Thursday. So until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there.